There's a number of reasons, but the primary one is this. 2013 is going to be a critical year. We've got this Congress that can't seem to do anything, but yet the Bush tax cuts are expiring at the end of the year. We're having major mandatory cuts in the budget. It's going to be Armageddon if we can't straighten this out in 2013. I have the tax background to know how we can fix the tax system. I have the compassion to seeing that the cuts are done in such a way that it doesn't ruin the lives of our seniors, our children, and we protect education in the process. The first congressional district will be better off.
And my final question for you tonight is, this is not really known as a liberal district. A lot of conservative voters in this area. What makes you think that, you're a Democrat, what makes you think that you can be conservative like that?
All right, well, first of all, I ran 2 years ago against Wally Herger. That was a year for conservatives to win, but yet I got 43% of the vote. So I thought I had the momentum coming into this election to win. To my surprise, Wally Herger decided not to
lost
run.
on immigration.
So it's open seat.
Excuse me, sir, conducting interviews. Thank you.
That makes it a better chance. Then on top of this, through the process, we went through a primary with 8 candidates. At the end of the primary, and it narrowed it down to Doug Malfa and myself, not a single one of those other 6 that were in the race has endorsed Doug Malfa. Several of them have endorsed me, including Republicans. So the trend is going my way, I feel. And then, of course, there's the criminal investigation going on about the Malfa campaign. It makes it difficult for him to do a normal campaign. And I think that's a great equalizer.
All right, Tim. Thanks for
Thank
your
you.
time. I appreciate it. Let's grab that microphone.
Oh, yeah. Where are you from? We need to get some signs up in time. There's 5 different invitations. This is the only one, and I've agreed to all 5. So Doug Malfa has only agreed to this particular venue. So whether he chooses to do the others or not. But the next one scheduled is supposed to be in Chico with women lead the voters.
How will I find out if it's on?
Go to my, I think it's on my website. If it's not, email us. Just go info@jimreed2012.com and we'll get back to you.
Thank you. Good.
Oh, okay. One of my favorite guys.
Yeah. And it's the opportunity.
I would love to have that. You can shoot it if you can scan it and send it to me by email. That would be the best.
And you know, he's the one that started out having
This is the guy I like. And that's where I'm trying to be, you know. So how's the law practice going?
Oh, it's getting there.
All right, all right.
The fellowship probably.
Yeah, I gotta just be a little more careful about the way I campaign.
What's your hourly rate?
Well, it varies, but generally
What's your top rate?
$300.
$300 an hour?
Right.
And do you ever work for the government?
No.
So you never work with anybody who's on government benefits or anything else?
No, but here's what I do. I represent people in front of government entities,
Right.
planning commission, city council, or supervisor.
Judge Paul Walker's decision to trash marriage in California all by himself.
Well, of course, I'm a believer that anybody that loves someone else should have the right to marry them.
I mean, a man and his dog?
Pardon?
A man and his dog,
No, I
if they
said
love each
I'm
other?
talking about people. And the point here is, maybe he wasn't the best judge to make the decision, but it was the right decision.
Oh, okay. So we should not have man-woman marriage as normal in this nation.
I think we should have man-woman,
So you're in
man-man,
favor of
and
repealing
woman-woman.
homo-anal relationships
No.
and separatist extermination
I'm
sites?
not going to address that.
What? That's the health issue. That's the number one thing driving
I'm not
AIDS.
talking about that.
That's the health issue.
Okay,
Well, 2 years ago, you run against Wally Herger,
Yep.
and one of the biggest reasons you lost against Wally Herger is because you stood up for Obama's immigration, and the same thing, you believed in immigration, and the biggest thing that people fought against you back then was you weren't paying half of your health the wages you were supposed to pay them because you called in immigration on people that didn't have green cards. And I was there when it was put to you, and you walked off from the person that brought it to your opinion. And
I don't remember
in the
that.
same, yeah, I wouldn't doubt you
But
would
if you're
because
saying,
he wouldn't
if
feel
you're
you
talking
did.
about my employees, I pay all my employees properly. We've gone through rough times. I have 10 employees. It would have been real easy to lay off 1 or 2 of those employees to make
And how do you
ends
feel
meet,
about
but I didn't do
immigration
it.
today with the president?
Yeah, I support.
Do you believe they all ought to just be
No.
turned free? And
If they commit criminal acts, they need to go. But if you're a child,
why isn't it to the Constitution they should come in through Ellis Island or through California or wherever they come, but pass all this stuff first? We're all illegal aliens, all are.
I'm Native American. Did you have papers when you came here?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you
Are you
ask? Are you Native American?
No.
Did you
I'd like to
get
hear the
family?
candidate.
Let's calm down.
you know, where were
Jim,
your
let me hear the
papers?
candidate.
Where were your
I was
papers?
born in this country.
Well, did you ask
you
my
did.
people? Did you ask my people if it was okay? No, you came here and committed genocide.
Did you allow the pilgrims in?
Yeah,
Okay.
we fed your people.
I understand.
Yeah, we fed your
And I
people
agree with
when
you
you were
people.
starving
I live
to
with
death.
you people.
And you were
I have nothing
starving
against
to death.
an Indian of any.
That the Mexicans are Native American people.
Since
So,
when?
They're
That's
Indians.
just, well, half
They're
Indian.
Indian.
Yeah.
That's right.
Half Indian.
They're half native.
And
They're
half
half native.
Spanish.
They're going to cut them in half
So
and
you're gonna
export the
cut 'em in
non-Indian
half?
part?
No.
So you're going to
But-
export. So that's the end of the story. You're just ignorant.
Here's my follow-up question. You talked about your daughter not wanting to risk her life. Now, we know that Roe versus Wade, Norma McCorvey, and her attorneys deliberately fabricated a false story of gang rape. It's a testimony before the Senate. They falsified a story of gang rape to gain sympathy. Now, when I turned 18, I had to register for the draft, which means the male-only conscription that you will sacrifice your life to defend innocent lives. Why should I, as a male, be required to sacrifice my life on behalf of
I
innocent
would
when there is
support
no
somebody
similar
who-
obligation for your daughter or any other woman to do the same?
and let me just tell you, I think it's wrong. That,
Abortion
if,
is wrong?
No, if there's going to be a draft,
No,
it should
we're
be
talking
all
about
men and women. No, we're
abortion
talking about what
and
you brought up.
against her will. If you're being forced to say to protect innocent life
And that's
against
why
her will,
the draft should
what's
be
the
for
difference
both men
between
and
the
women.
draft and
Sir, we'd like to ask some questions as well. You've already asked your question.
Mau?
No,
Malfa went that way.
I like
Good.
the marginal tax rates we have now. And by the way, the Norquist pledge, the first part is a pledge not to raise the marginal rates. I don't even have a problem with that. I think the marginal rates are fine. It starts at 15% and works its way up to 35. People who have more money can afford to pay a little higher rate. But 35% is great. That's enough. The thing that goes wrong, and this is why Warren Buffett pays a lower tax rate than his secretary. Wealthy people don't pay tax at their marginal rate. They're making capital gains, they're making dividends, they're paying at the flat rate of 15%. And I think a progressive tax rate is fair, and I support just keeping it the way it is.
Would you eliminate the capital gains tax?
I would allow capital gains to remain at 15% until somebody makes about $250,000 a year. But from then on, they should pay at their marginal rate, not at this special 15% rate.
You were talking about those signs in
Yeah.
here in Fall River. I have a job where I travel a lot. The next time I'm in Fall River,
Okay,
I mean,
thanks,
I have a
Kevin.
Prius too. I've got two.
I got
But-
15 in mine.
But I mean, I could bring some back. You know, I could help you.
Okay, some of these signs I was talking about are actually down in the Bay Area. They were
Oh, are
printed.
they?
They were printed down there. But I have 15. I actually drove my Prius today, and I got 15 in there. What I'm thinking is, if anybody has a good place for a sign, I'm willing to turn one over to them, let them get it up. If anybody here wants to do that,
I'll take a sign.
will you?
Yeah, I live in Anderson, right across from Norma Comnick.
We need them in Anderson. You can either get them from Jim Dyer here, right behind you. He's got some in his car,
Okay.
but I've got more in my car.
Perfect.
All right, great.
Thank you.